Hi, this is Cynthia Ortiz. It is Thursday, October 21st, 2021. These are the Charles Perry Stalker podcasts. It has been a busy couple of days. And I'm actually very busy with other things. Mr. Perry, you're taking up my time. I'm getting pissed off about it. So, let's do the disclaimer. Use allegedly. Apply the but-for standard. But for Mr. Perry's harassment in Oklahoma, where I am, these wouldn't be necessary, would they? Because the intent is to establish malicious intent and premeditation and to cause suffering. Suffering by way of crime. Mr. Perry has never been so caught as he has since he met me. And he's not getting it. He's asking me why I don't like him. Golly, why would you have to ask me that? He hacked my phone so he'll type crap in it and it pisses me off because I told him to get out of my phone. Don't contact me. He doesn't seem to understand words said to him. The other standard we need you to apply when listening to this is the reasonable person standard. What would any reasonable person do in my situation? The other standard would be the First Amendment right. Do not selectively prosecute me. I'm no different than any other woman in the Me Too movement. I'm no different than TikTok girl. I'm no different than Polly Peretti. I'm no different than any other victim of stalking who complains about it. I have joined a lot of Facebook groups that are about stalking, or I'm sorry, they are for victims of stalking. So everybody complains about it. Nobody likes being stalked. It is a crime for a reason. So Mr. Perry types in my phone today, why? Call me, I win. He does that. It's almost daily. Call me, I win. Call me, I win. Why don't you like me? Why won't you go? Wow. Go where? I've done everything I can do, Mr. Perry, to get the hell away from you. When you commit a crime against someone, they're not going to like you anymore. And we all learned that in daycare. You're very slow and it's very irritating. And you need to understand how bad you're pissing everybody off. Nobody likes watching one person cause suffering to another. You tried to kill me. I heard the recordings of that. You need to remember who it is you're talking to. This isn't about a romance. This is about me fucking up your crime. You don't know who I am. You don't know who I know. But nobody's done it like I've done it. If there's somebody else that have fucked up your crime like I have, I want the names of those people. Because I don't think there is anybody. You cannot continue to close your eyes and think nobody sees you. And that's what you're doing. When you want to date with a woman, you do things women like. And women do not like being the victim of voyeurism, sexual exploitation, torment, torture, and starvation so you can get a little thrill, and you think that's a date. John Hinckley Jr. watched Jodie Foster, the actress, on TV, and in his mind, in his delusional mind, created an affair. He thought that he was going to go kill the president, and she'd be happy about it. And he seemed very upset that she wasn't. He could not figure out why that didn't impress her. First of all, she doesn't know or like the guy. Second of all, when you kill people, that's a crime. Mr. Perry, I know people that you've killed. I don't think it's funny, and I don't think it's cute. I think you're a heinous, depraved, sick, sadistic, antisocial, psychotic, nutbag criminal. I'm welcome and free to have my opinion. I assert my right to free speech to say exactly what I think, because in this country, men and women died and bled and gave up all their wealth so we could have that freedom. New York Times versus Sullivan, or Sullivan versus New York Times. I'm bad about getting things mixed up like that. The plaintiff and the defendant. So please forgive me. But you know which one I'm talking about. Garrison versus Louisiana. You have committed fraud and after perjury, after fraud, after perjury in court. So you didn't win anything, Mr. Perry. You need to get a grip on reality. You're about to go to jail for that. I'm never going to call you. If you want to talk to me, then set something up with Jerry Ridley, Chief Ridley in Manford. Waive your right to counsel. Let him Mirandize you, and you're more than welcome to confess to every crime you've committed. I already know a lot of what that is. So you're not going to sit me down in a room and lie. You need to stop trying to lie to people that are smarter than you because they know you're lying. You act like you're mentally ill. You act like you got Alzheimer's. Everybody is tired of you because you cause suffering, and nobody likes that. You want to know why I don't like you? Because you cause suffering. I have gone out with a lot of men, and they all made sure I never missed a meal. They supported my career. They supported my dreams. They supported my goals. They did not butt in. They did not peep. They did not hack. They did not harass me. They did not steal my money. They did not ruin my car. They didn't do anything like that. And if you want to get a date with a woman, then you don't do shit like that because women don't like it. You're a turnoff. I'm tired of repeating myself. You and I have no romance here. For me, Mr. Perry, write this down. I'm not into you. You make my skin crawl. You disgust me. Write it down. I have said that every day for 10 years. I don't like you. You're cruel. You're stupid. I don't like it. I don't like repeating myself. I've been around surgeons and elected officials all my life. I say it one time and they get it. One time, sir. This is stuff that nobody should have to be told even one time, much less over and over and over. And you're slow, and it irritates the hell out of me. It's like grinding fingernails on a chalkboard. I need you to write this down. We're sick of you. You cause suffering and hardship. We're sick of that. Everyone's sick and tired of feeling anxious and stressed out and afraid and sad. Because all you do is make threats and cause loss. If something is illegal, that means people don't like it when you do that. Most people don't have to be told this, Mr. Perry, much less it be told over and over and over. And illegal means when you go into a court of law and lie. And you think everybody's supposed to be happy about it. Nope. It's illegal because people don't like it when you do that. You're supposed to be happy when you hack and peep. Nope. It's illegal because people don't like it when you do that. Stop telling me what to do. You type to my phone, go. Go to work. Go dance. Go to nursing school. Listen. Whoa. Get out of my phone. Hacking is a crime, Mr. Perry, because people don't like it when you do that. When a woman says, don't contact me again. Every day for 10 years, I've moved twice to get away from you. To avoid contact with you. To avoid being a victim of your crime every fucking day, re-traumatized and re-traumatized and re-traumatized because you caused one loss after another, after another, after another. And I don't think it's cute. I think it's disgusting. And you should too. You should be embarrassed by what you do. It's weirdo. If you do something that is criminal, that means people don't like it when you do that. Stalking. It's a crime in all 50 states, and for you it's federal, and it's a felony, sir. If you're in a bar and you're hitting on a woman and she tells you to stop it, they will kick your ass out. What's the difference? I don't like you. I'm not going to call you. You want to confess to a crime, then you call Chief Ridley and you arrange for that. I'm happy to take your confession. That's the only way you and I are going to talk. You make me want to throw up. Get the idea out of your head that this is a romance. You're rejected, and you've been rejected for a decade. Anybody that I fall in love with has made sure I never missed a meal. They made sure. Said helped me buy a better car. I had a Saturn. He helped me. Actually, I had some old beat-up car my granddad got from the auction. He owned a body shop. He helped my career thrive so that I could then buy a Saturn. And then from that, I bought an Infiniti Q45. That's a $40,000 car. I was 23 years old. He started a business for me. My ex-husband supported my business. I never missed a meal. So, fuck you. Don't ever contact me again. Don't contact me again. You don't get a say-so in my life. And you start telling me what to do. Boy, howdy, it didn't get much. Remember who it is you're talking to. Life as you knew it ended when you met me, didn't it? Didn't it? All right, so now we got... Oh, Jesus, a lot to cover today, and I really don't have a lot of time. I guess there was a court hearing or something where Mr. Powell is complaining. She's lying about Patrick and Dom. Those are her strip club managers. And she says Charles asked if they talked or if they leaked. He was asked, did you call these men? I talked to Dom, and he denies knowing any such thing. I never said he did. What? And she's right. Whoever this is, if this is a judge, I never said that I've even talked to either Dom or Patrick about any of this. I haven't. I've never one time talked to Dominic He was my manager in Stillwater at the Blue Diamond. Or Patrick, he is my manager at Sensations. Patrick doesn't even live in Tulsa. He lives in Missouri. I haven't seen him in a while. It's been a while. But I have not talked to him about this. Ever. I haven't talked to the owner either. Guess what? There's about 3 girls that I talked to about it at work. And all 3 of those don't work there anymore. So, fuck you. I never said they knew. I never said that. I said Charles asked me if they were a leak. So if they do know, it's because he told them. I didn't. I don't talk to him about it. I do my very best not to discuss this at work. Because I am there to work and make money. I'm not there to whine and cry about my problems. I don't. I do not do it. It's very rare. Very rare. I have had girls ask me about it. One girl said, how do you know which cops are good and which are bad? And I said, what do you mean? I mean, I had just walked in the door. How do you know which cops are good and which ones are bad? Like the ones that work for your stalker senator. I go, wow. What happened? Well, we had some cops out here. They were, harassing us, and they were telling us they were going to arrest us and all this stuff. And I go, okay, well, what'd you do? Well, we were sitting in our car talking. Okay, well, who was it? And they told me the names. And I said, yep, those 2 work for him. I know that because they flat said it. One of them, I made him take me to breakfast. I made him do it. You're going to take me to breakfast and you're going to buy it. You're going to come in here and harass me for that, bitch? You're going to feed me. And he did. He did. So, if somebody else knows, a lot of times, it's not because I've told them. It's because Charles calls everybody and we're going to try to do this to her. And we're going to try to do that to her. We got to subjugate her. And he'll lie. I'll make it up to her later. He's going to kill me. He's not going to make it up to me later. Because I've heard too many recordings of him talking about killing me. And I think we found a hitman that can kill Cindy. And it's not going to be linked to us. I've heard those recordings. Mr. Perry, you need to remember who the fuck it is you're talking to. I never said Patrick knew anything at all. I never said Dominic knew anything at all. And I've not talked to either one of them about it at all. They both know I have a stalker. And that's about it. They both know you've hired people to go into me to harass me at work. And that's about it. Because what happens is if there's a customer that you sent in, it's one of your guys, like Pinto. Pinto talked to me right in front of Dominic. So as far as I know, the only thing Dominic knows is that right there. You sent a guy in, and I recorded him. And you sent him in while we were in federal court. And other than that, I don't talk to Dominic about anything. So the limitation of knowledge that Dominic would have from me is that, Pinto. But I only discuss it if I must. And all I said to Dominic, he was standing, listening to the whole conversation. We had the conversation at the bar. Dominic was busy serving other customers too, so if he heard it, he heard parts of it, not the whole conversation. And I looked at him and I go, when the guy left, I go, that was my stalker, and that guy came in here for my stalker, and I just recorded him. I'm a little shaken. I need to go in the back and sit down for a minute. I went in, I sat down for a minute, and I came right back out. And that was it. That was it. That's what he knows. He doesn't know another thing. Not from me. I haven't spoken to Dominic in a couple of years. I have not been out there. I've not spoken to Patrick in months. Patrick comes into town once in a blue moon. He lives in Missouri. He doesn't live in Oklahoma. And I haven't talked to Patrick about any of this since 2015. 2015 was the last time I said anything at all to Patrick about being stalked. So now I've talked to maybe the manager. I think one time I mentioned I had a stalker. He did try to kill me at Lady Godiva's. So if I won't talk to a guy, he's working for him, and he'll have people coming in here and take pictures of me. So I need you to know that these guys coming in here they are not allowed to take pictures. The pictures are owned by the club and by me. You walk in our establishment, I'm an independent contractor, and that club is those pictures are owned by the club and the dancer. Because people make money off of that shit. We make money off of that shit, and you do not get to take pictures of me in that club and do anything with them at all. You don't have consent, you don't have permission, and they will take your phone away and they will delete them. Those are owned by us. That's owned by us. We have the legal right to any money made from those photos taken of me in that club or anything, Richard. Richard, do you hear me? You don't take pictures of me in that club. And other than that, I've not said a word to anybody at that club. Nobody. One night, somebody came up to me, another dancer, after I'd gotten tipped a bunch on stage. And before that, I wasn't getting hardly tipped anything. In fact, one guy was trying to tip me, and his friend pulled his hand back and said, "Can't tip that girl. She pissed off some bigwig." We were told we are not allowed to tip her. And I looked at him and I went, "What the fuck?" And the other guy did the same thing. He goes, "What the fuck?" He goes, "If I want to tip her, I'm going to tip her." And he goes, "All right, go ahead." So he threw $2 up there. After that, I complained about it. And after that, one night the stage was covered. And I walked in the back and one of the girls looked at me and she goes, "About fucking time that bitch let you make some money." And I went, "What? Let me make some money?" She already knew. I didn't say a word to her about it. I talked to her about it because she brought it up. She's not at that club anymore. She doesn't work there anymore. Hadn't for a couple of years. So there might be a couple of girls that asked me something. I didn't bring it up. They did. How did they know? Who told them? Richard, was that you? Richard, you going in there and you having these girls get my cigarettes and my gum and watch me on my phone? Is that your deal? Are you ahead of that? Helton Sensations? So this person, if this was the judge, was correct. I didn't allege they knew shit. Because I know what I've told them and it's been limited. Very limited. I don't like drama. I like to go in there and work and forget about it as much as I possibly can. I only deal with what I have to. I'm alive because I deal with what I have to. Believe me, I should have been dead a long time ago. Dead or arrested. I guess I was supposed to be arrested last Tuesday. Wow, for what? Not liking the weird guy? Not liking the creepy guy? Catching a criminal? See, Rogers County Sheriff's Department. I'm going to tell you this right now. Mays County Sheriff's Department. You don't know what else is out there. There's another police department working on it. Mr. Perry's been recorded. He was going to try to kill me at that club. Are you going to obstruct justice? Are you going to get me killed? I'm going to ask you nicely. Please don't do that. Do not get me killed. You don't know everything that's been going on. And I'd hate to... sometimes what people do when they don't look and they don't get all the information is they get egg on their face later. They get egg all over their face later. They look stupid because they don't have they're factually ignorant. So later, this stuff will come back and bite you in the ass. If you don't get all the information and you just have some sort of knee-jerk reaction because Mr. Perry called you and said, "We want you to put her in jail. I'll pay you. I'll make it worth your while. We just need her to apologize." That's the latest thing. We just need her to apologize. My apology is, I'm sorry, you're fucked up. I'm sorry you failed. I'm sorry you can't get a woman to like you to save your life. I'm sorry you don't know how to think right. I'm sorry you didn't go get help when you were younger. But I'm going to tell you something, bitch. Life as you knew it ended when you met me, and you have no idea why or how that happened. I didn't tell Dominic or Patrick a shit. I haven't talked to Dominic. When was Pinto? When was the thing with Pinto? That was in 2019 or something, or 2017. When Pinto came in, that's the last conversation I had with Dominic about being stalked. Last time I've talked to him about that. I've talked to him since, but not about that. No one gives a shit about you. You think that you're just like, oh, I'm just this big, powerful, important guy, and all Cindy does is talk about me. Nope, I deal with the problems you cause, and I'm on to the next thing. I don't whine to customers about being stalked, you sicko. I'm there for them. I ask them what's interesting to them. You don't matter. You don't matter at all. What the fuck is wrong with you? Get off your high horse. You got that grandiose thinking of a serial killer, don't you? So if Dom knows something, Mr. Perry, I didn't tell him. You did. I'm not asking if he's a leak. I'm not telling him, yeah, he's telling on you. I haven't talked to him for years. And the last time I talked to him about being stalked was right after Pinto left. that night. He was standing right there. Pinto and I were talking at the bar. Dominic was serving drinks behind the bar. I let Pinto go. Here, I hit play and go, talk, Pinto. I don't know how much of that Dominic heard. I didn't even ask him that. I just said, that fucker worked for my stalker. I just recorded everything he said. I'm going to take it to court. And that's it. That was the conversation right there. I said, I'm a little rattled. I'm going to go sit down in the back for a minute. Pull myself together, and I'll be right back out to work. And he said, that's fine. I spent maybe 2 minutes back there and went right back out and worked. Patrick and I haven't talked about it at all since 2015. We talked about it, and that's how long ago it's been. I don't think I've talked to the owner about it either. I've talked to a manager. I can't go speak with that customer. That man works for my stalker, and that guy is dangerous, and I'm not going to talk to him. That's fine. Very, very little is said about it. And 9 times out of 10, they're asking me. It's not the other way around. So, when this person, this judge or I guess, whatever, said she's not alleging anything at all that they've told or that they're a part of this or that they know anything, she didn't say that at all. And I haven't. She said she hasn't talked to him. So what's your problem here? Perry wants to know how she always finds out. You guys all complain that she finds out what you're going to do to her. So he's telling him. I guess. I've not asked them, are you a part of the stalking thing? Or is Mr. Perry telling you what he's going to do to me? Are you a leak? That conversation never happens. Don't need it to. I don't need it to. I've told you over and over and over. I don't know who the leaks are. I don't know. I'm not told that. You kill people. You kill people. They're not going to divulge that to anybody. I don't kill people. They won't even tell me. I have no idea. That's for the protection of those people. We got a dead Chief Miller and an almost dead framed Mike. Nobody's going to tell you anything, sir, and compromise the integrity of that investigation and get people killed. You have a bad habit of murder. You have a bad habit of going into court and lying. You have a bad habit of destroying evidence. You have a bad habit of obstructing justice. You're one RICO violation after another. So nobody is going to tell you a fucking thing. They won't even tell Tulsa police. You know how I know that? Because Tulsa police showed they can't be trusted. We don't know who will leak what to you. They won't even call Tulsa police. Tulsa police can call everybody they know. Nobody is going to risk it. Because they should have got you on obstruction and they didn't. So they showed we can't trust them. Whatever information goes from our guys to Tulsa police could then go to you. And we're not going to let that happen. Because you have a bad habit of killing people. We're not going to get people killed. You have a bad habit of murder. Guess what, Mr. Perry? That's kind of a turn-off when you're trying to get a date. You got women that write guys in prison. I'm not that girl. That's not my thing. When you're in prison, I hope to God you get all kinds of women fan mail. You know, like Scott Peterson and the Menendez brothers. I hope you get it. I hope you get all that attention you've been craving that you can't get from me. Because to me, you're a job. That's it. That's all you are. This is about fighting crime, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. You're a sick little bitch. Nobody has fought your crime, and successfully, like I have in your entire life. Have they? Everyone says it. She took his mask off. He's living a fraud. He's got a facade. She fucked all that up. Now he's pissed about it. Now he keeps trying to kill her or put her in jail or something to shut her up. The truth sets us free. It might piss you off first, but it will set you free. You ever see that at the CIA headquarters? You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That came from the Bible, you thump. You can't fight crime if you don't admit what it is. There's no crime in talking about you trying to kill me. You need to remember who it is you're talking to, Mr. Perry. You seem to forget. It's not about a date. It's about fighting your crime, and nobody's done it better than me. You fuck with me, you don't get a date, you get caught. It's been that way for a decade. You need to keep up. You're slow. It's driving me nuts. Listen, I don't like it repeating myself. I don't. Stop making me. This is not a date. You are a reject. I don't like you. Write that down because I'm sick of repeating myself. You win. You want me to call. I get it. You made your point. And I said no. I said, fuck you, didn't I? You're about to go to jail for that fraud. Because you didn't win anything. You went into court and lied. See, I don't have a law degree. You have 5+ attorneys who are seasoned attorneys. I went into the first hearing and your motion to dismiss was denied. I don't have a law degree. I fucked up all kinds of things. I'm learning as I go along. So now I've learned more than I knew back then when I first filed the first lawsuit. And I can see my mistakes. But I get better and better at it. I did well enough to where you haven't let me in a hearing since. You have all these secret ex parte hearings. Nobody knows what the hell you said. But you didn't tell the truth. Everybody wants to know right now. Your residency's in question, sir. Where is it that you live? How have you spent your time? You're going to have to prove that. Where have you been? Because we hear you're in Tulsa more than you're in Lubbock. You abandoned your family. You've been chasing me around. Showing a forged marriage license. Inserting yourself in my life pretending you're in it. Only you're never seen with me. You're alone. 6 years is a long time to be rejected and not get it. You're not wanted. You're John Hinckley Jr. You created an imaginary something that's not real to me. You're pretending. You live in a delusional make-believe world. It doesn't exist to me. I don't feel what you feel. You make me want to barf. It's not reciprocated. That is called stalking, sir. It's a crime. And I just went through the law review that talks about domestic violence, that you're a violent offender. Economic abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse. Those are indicators of domestic violence, dumbass. That means I'm broke. And you caused that? That's economic abuse. You're a domestic violence offender. You want to fuck with me and threaten and harass and threaten and harass. I win, call me. I win, I can see you. I win, call me, I see you. Disgusting, weird, creepy shit. If it's illegal, people don't like it when you do that. So don't ask me why I don't like you. Nobody should have to explain that, dumbass. I mean, you're just irritating the shit out of me. So we got this. Oh, he was trying to get my car again last night. My guys called me. Guess what? He was just talking to the tow guy. The tow guy was like, she didn't have a bunch of shit in that car, does she? Because I don't want to get a phone call. I got my purse in that car. Can I come get it? I don't want that kind of phone call. Does she have crap in that car? Wow. Wow. And, so, there's stuff I'll get to in a minute. They wanted me, let me look at it here. Oh, we need her to apologize. And I guess Mr. Perry was told for what? She moved twice to get away from you. You're always in Tulsa. To the point that your residency is being questioned. You don't have damage to your car all the time. You don't have income loss. Maybe from your peep show. I might have run off your investors from your illegal, whatever that is. Boo fucking who? I'm talking about legitimate money. Making from working. Which we know you don't do. You sit around on your fat, lazy ass perverting around all day. We know exactly what you're doing. One crime after another crime after another crime. And the guy said, you weren't false arrested. You weren't threatened, almost dead. You weren't coerced and murder a witness in a murder trial and not allowed to testify. That's another one. There's like 4 fraud cases you got here. Mike Neely's trial is one of them. When you conceal a material fact that could change the outcome of the deciding body, that's perjury. Strong versus U.S., Vreeland versus U.S. I'm not an attorney, but I know how to read. It's not that hard. I've done well enough. You guys wouldn't let me in court against 5 seasoned attorneys. Not one lick of law school. If I sucked at it, you'd make sure I was in that courtroom. If I was crazy, you would too. So the guy was like, what's she supposed to apologize for? She's broke. You're not. She's had all the damage to her car. You haven't. Do you know there's been like 4 wrecks? There's been, first the brick was thrown at me. First the threat was made specific to my car. Right here. God, this is so long. Right there. That's in 2019. I'm going to have her car towed and sold before she figures out it's not even legal. Look at the last sentence highlighted there. Look at the date. Look at that date. Just after that, I'm driving down the freeway, and a brick is thrown at me, and it cracked my engine in 2. I saw Perry's guy at the exit, or I would have gone out. Probably would have hit me in the head because I would have gone out a different way. I was trying to avoid his guy. Usually what happened is this guy sat at the exit of the hotel where I was staying in Manford, trying to hide. They asked me, Manford PD asked me, are you trying to hide out here? And I go, yeah. Well, this is a good place to do it. Okay, thank you for letting me know that, because the goal is to get away from this bitch. This is my engine. Look at that. Cracked in two. Totaled my car. A brick was thrown at me and it hit the asphalt first and bounced up. But had I gone out the way I normally went out, I would have been closer to the guy and it would have hit me in the head and killed me. They would have done that to my skull. But as it turns out, Perry sometimes had a guy sitting at the exit of where I would leave, and he would call down to whoever threw that brick at me, and tell them, here she comes. See this right here's the exit. See where that truck is? I went that way instead of going to the right to leave. It put me about 2 minutes behind. So that brick didn't hit me in the head. So that's one thing. And then I've had the radiator hose busted. I've had my taillight taken out. Cops. My cops that tell me everything you said, like last night. You talking to a tow guy? I'm gonna be at her house at 2 o'clock to get that car. She didn't have a bunch of her shit in it. I wanted to get a phone call from her. My purse is in there. Yeah, how would anyone know that? What's in it? How would anyone know that? See, what kind of question is that? She didn't have a lot of shit in that car, does she? See, every time I say something before you do it, and then you do it anyway, we've established malicious intent and premeditation. You did something illegal, or I wouldn't be told about it. And I get called about my car every fucking time you try to do something to my car. You want to take a regulator out or something? I don't know a damn thing about cars, so I don't know what the hell that is. But I guess it makes the car not run or run. You were recorded. So they call me and tell me, they got your taillight out, Sin. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm woken up. Remember, at this time, I work all night long and I sleep all day. I usually woke up about 3, ate something, took a shower, and went to work. Came home at 4 or 5 in the morning. Same thing again the next day. This time I get woke up at 1 o'clock. Go check your light right now. I went and checked it. It was out. When you get up, you usually just go get in your car and you leave. You don't look at your lights. I was told to, or I wouldn't have. So I went to Napa in Manford and got a new light right then. You wanted me pulled over. I understand. So all this stuff beforehand, Mr. Perry, looks a little suspicious. So they throw the brick at me. I get a new car. They have a truck hit me, I guess. Mr. Wagner told me, he's a truck driver. He tells me, I think they had that done. I know, you think they did that on purpose? I do. An experienced truck driver couldn't do it. He just whipped me on the side and popped out the tire. Brand new car. Terry Wagner says, I think they did that on purpose. I go, so if I put you on the stands as an expert, keep in mind this whole time I knew he was David's buddy. I knew he was David's proxy stalker. They both are in road construction. So for 40 years, Robertson owns Dynamic Shot. They build bridges and shit like that. And Mr. Wagner does the same thing. And as soon as Mr. Wagner comes in, he starts talking about what he did for a living. And I asked him, do you know David Robertson? At this point, supposedly, he doesn't know there's a problem between me and David Robertson. And he says, no, never heard of him. Wow, okay, right there, now I know you do know him, and he sent you in here because you don't work in the same industry in the same state for 40 years and you've never even heard of him. You would at least have heard of him, right? You may not be BFFs, but you've heard of him. You've worked in the same industry for 40 years. I lived in Las Vegas for about a decade, worked in medical. You come and ask me about most doctors, I'm going to at least have heard of them. I may not know them well. I may not know them, have gone to lunch with them or even went in their office, but I've probably at least heard of them. And that's a huge town. There's millions of people. So within 5 years that I was there, I pretty much knew at least the names of vascular surgeons, oncologists, cardiologists, podiatrists. You're going to come tell me a name, I'm going to have heard of it. So for Mr. Wagner to claim I've been working in the same industry with David Robertson for 40 years in the same state and I've never heard of him. No, wrong. He sent you in here because you wouldn't say that. You would have at least said, yeah, I've heard of him. Don't know him well. Something like that. Something that is a little more realistic than never heard of him. Anyways, so he tells me that wreck was caused by Charles too. I called Texas DPS. I'm sorry, Oklahoma DPS, and filed a report. But I didn't get a plate because the guy bapped me and blew out my tire, and he was going about 90 miles an hour. So, needless to say, you can't chase somebody down with a flat tire who's going 90 miles an hour. All you can do is get off the road. So that's what I did. And the poor trooper, you know, he calls me and he's like, so you got a flat tire and you were hit by a truck. Did you get the truck's license plate? And I go, no. And he goes, then I can't help you. And I go, oh, yes, you are going to come help me change my tire. And he started laughing. He goes, okay, I'll come. Thankfully, he was kind enough to come help me change my tire. And it was raining. So I, you know, shout out to him. Thank you. That was very, very nice. And actually, I told a couple of girls that I worked with what you did. And one of them almost started crying. And she goes, I've never seen that side of police. The only side of police I've seen are being horrible to me and ripping my family apart. And I get that probably there was really good cause for that when she was young. She was being abused or neglected or something. Police came and took her to, you know, CPS and foster care. And she only remembers how horrible that made her feel and didn't probably understand the reason behind it. But she said, if I needed police, they were not there for me. All they did was hurt me. So she started crying that police would be kind enough to come help change a tire. And she's like, I didn't know they even did stuff like that. And I go, absolutely, they do stuff like that. And I'm sorry you've had such a negative experience with police. They're not all bad. There are some, but they're not all bad. Don't generalize. Don't put them, you know, don't punish the whole for the part. So, you know, that man didn't just help me that night, but he made an impact in somebody else's mind as to what police are all about. And that he came and changed my tire, and she was literally in tears. I've never seen police do that. Wow, you've never seen police? No, I've never seen them help. They're just mean. They're just horrible. They just rip families apart. And I'm like, whoa, what in the hell happened to you? That's your perception of police, because I promise you they're not all like that. And you don't know that they weren't trying to protect you. I don't know. I was a little kid. All I know is they've never been there for me when I needed them, but they did rip my family apart, and I'll never forgive them. I hate police. Oh, gosh. Okay. And I'm like, don't, because there's a lot of good ones. There's a really lot of good ones, and you probably don't know why they took you away from your family when you were young. You were probably being hurt and didn't realize it because you're too young to know. I don't even care. All I know is I don't, you know, we had this big long conversation about it. And so that police officer, you know, deserves a shout out because he didn't just help me. He made an impact in somebody else's mind as to what police are all about, who had not had any positive experiences with cops. So that happened. And then after that, this is the deal with Michael Neely. He took my report. I get up and there's this shit in my trunk. And I asked the maid, Laura Collins, what did you see anybody messing with my car? Nope. And she comes and looks and she goes, well, that stuff's all over this room over here. So, sure shit, it was. We took pictures of it. Oh, that's the next one. Then on 4th of July, I'm parked at a business. I go inside. Somebody wrecks my car and drives away. July 3rd. What I understand is Mr. Perry did not want me going to Manford to talk to Chief Ridley about what I knew about Michael Neely not killing Chief Miller. Didn't want me talking to my family either. 4th of July, I usually go out there. Well, July 3rd, they wrecked my car. Actually, this 4th of July, I didn't have any plan. This particular one that they did this, I didn't have any plans for that. And then a few weeks ago, they wrecked my car again. Now, that one I believed not to be related until Mr. Robertson was making a big deal out of trying to get me to call the family. It was a young kid. They wanted me to call her parents. Otherwise, I wouldn't have linked it at all. Wouldn't have. We didn't get anything beforehand. We don't always. 98% of the time we get something. But I didn't call the family. What I did is call the insurance. Okay? So then I understand you're trying to get that If they total our car, we want that check. Do you? Duly noted for the record, you think you're going to get that check? I'm sure you're going to try. Because even when you're caught, you still try. But what we've done is establish you premeditated a crime and your intent was malicious. The other thing we needed to talk about today, so there's that. One thing after another to my car. Mr. Perry, that's not what women like. That's not how you attract women. It might be how you attract deviant men who are sadistic and cruel like you. There's a reason in a decade you don't have a date. You're all alone. People make fun of you. If all you have to do is to be married to somebody these days is be cruel to them or watch them on TV and sign a piece of paper, sign their name to a piece of paper. I'm married to Jennifer Aniston. Shit, I watch her on TV. I can sign her name to a marriage license. We're married. That's what this Looney Tune thinks. They're never together. People started questioning it. How come in 6 years they've never been seen together? He's alone. He's been seen with our family. He's been seen with our coworkers. He's been seen with our friends. Would that be why you're asking if it's Dom or Patrick that leaked? Have you told them? Have you been hanging out with them? Answer the question. You deny having committed fraud. You won in court. You say, you want me to call. Explain how that you're asking about those people. How you've been seen hanging out with my coworkers and my family. And people started wondering why you've never been with me. I don't think she likes him. They're never together. She's suing him. She wants a protective order. And I do. 11 times I've asked for a protective order. If somebody's doing all this shit to your car, if somebody's threatening death and false arrest, you need one, don't you? All right. So there's that. Okay, so the other thing was their false claims that I have a delusion problem. I did, when I got home, contact a criminal psychologist that is known for testifying in court as an expert witness. And he'll do 2 or 3 hours of testing and determining mental status. And I'm telling him, I said, well, okay, so I was getting threatened with death and false arrest. And I explained the whole thing. You had to file a police report. I did. I had tried one before. I couldn't get I forgot the police report, so it got denied. Well, I've got text, I've got this, I've got that. And he says, the video surveillance of your workplace that night, I have to see that. Because if I can't look at what you're looking at, I can't say whether you're imagining something that's not there. And if they've destroyed your evidence and they were threatening you beforehand, that indicates you're not delusional. They are. Right? And I'm surprised that Texas Tech physicians would put their name on false reporting or a false diagnosis. They haven't seen the evidence because you're telling me the evidence was destroyed. Mr. Powell failed to preserve all evidence, blood and hair, to rule out foul play, poisoning. I did get an admission in a text, Mr. Powell. That's probable cause, even if I wouldn't agree to it. But believe me, I would have agreed to it. I did call Tulsa Police, didn't I? I had to. I didn't have a choice. It's the law in Oklahoma. That is a fact you didn't disclose to the court when you had me false arrested, isn't it? Okay. Then you got video surveillance of my workplace that night. Customers, Mr. Robertson was harassing me so bad that night, customers complained to the waitress. What are you going to do? Wait till he blows our head off and then do something? Get him the hell out of here. He's making even us uncomfortable. They told me about stuff he was doing I didn't see. They asked me, why is that man stalking you? And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, every time you do a lap dance, he sends the girl sitting on his lap back to watch you. He's watching, this guy is clearly stalking you. It's making us very uncomfortable. And I said, really? See, I didn't see all that. But guess what? We picked it up, a video surveillance in the club. Well, Mr. Powell didn't preserve it. When you make an arrest, Mr. Powell, you got to preserve the evidence. So that tells us he never intended to go to trial. So why do you put somebody in jail and hold them against their will for 2 months? Illegal search and seizure. That's a constitutional violation. You didn't preserve any evidence, so you had no intention of going to trial. Because you knew there was no crime. And a criminal psychologist tells me I can't say that you're delusional unless I see the evidence, and they didn't preserve it. In fact, they destroyed it, which tells me you're probably not delusional. I have to look at the video. to see if I see something, if you are seeing something I don't see. And they destroyed the evidence. So, and you're telling everybody beforehand they're threatening death and false arrest. So, probably you're not delusional. I mean, just logic would tell you. Use a little critical thinking. If then that. Inferring, deductive and inductive reasoning, Mr. Powell. You heard of it? I'm studying it in my criminal justice program for college right now. Inferring, deductive reasoning, inferences, right? Okay, so that's one. You can infer something from those actions that you took or didn't take that by law you were supposed to have. And you know, the courts can also draw proper inferences from the same. So the guy's telling me, you know, if you were delusional, he would have kept all that. He would have made sure he had collected all that evidence, but he didn't. So something's wrong with his story. And he had no intent to go to trial, because if he wanted to go to trial, you're going to make sure you get all the evidence. And if he's failing to preserve it, that's a Brady violation. So he's held you 2 months against your will, and he held the charges for 1.5 years before he finally dismissed them. Because all that time they were planning a second false arrest. We're going to send her home. We're going to harass the hell out of her. And when she complains about it, we'll say she's harassing us. And then we'll go into all kinds of courtrooms and make sure she's not there and lie about it. And when they planned all that, I was in jail already, and they did do it in civil court. They can't say they weren't planning that, because they did do it. This was sent months before they did it. Again, we found out before. But it was all over the jail. And I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Powell. If it's all over the jail, that's been years ago. You don't think people that were there then, that went home, have told a bunch of people? Yeah, they have. I promise they have. Justice Scalia dies. Justice Scalia is very much for the First Amendment. New York Times versus Sullivan. He and Justice Ginsburg did a interview, a joint interview where they talked about that very thing. And Justice Scalia said, "I'm against flag burning." He was talking about his prior ruling on the flag burning. I'm against it. If I'm king, I say hang the guy, but I'm not king, and this is America. And we don't have a king. We have a constitution. He has the right to do that, as offensive as it may be. So he goes to West Texas right during all this, when all this is being planned, and I'm being illegally detained, and Mr. Powell is failing to preserve any evidence at all. And he's trying to get 2 Texas Tech shrinks to say I'm crazy, who haven't seen the video because he failed to preserve it. Trying to get them to say I'm delusional. They didn't see all the texts and the emails where I'm telling people before. He's threatening me with death and false arrest. I had to file a police report in Oklahoma because it's the law. They knew that because I tried to get one, and I forgot to bring the report, and it was denied. It is Marler versus Clower. You have to have the police report in court. That's the law. Judge Eyrick, I was pissed at him, but he got it right. So we're going to send her home, harass the shit out of her. Then when she talks, we'll say she's harassing us, and we're victims. She's telling on us. Is it Dominic and Patrick? I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I've not said that. I've not said that at all, because I don't talk to him about that. When I do talk to him, and as it turns out, I haven't talked to him in a while. So if they knew what you were going to do to me, Mr. Perry, and you think they leaked, to who did they leak? What did they know? What'd you tell them? I haven't talked to him. So it sounds like that's what the judge was, or whoever Matt was talking to, was saying. I don't get the problem here. Mr. Perry, y'all all keep complaining she finds out what you're going to do before. And Mr. Perry wants to know how. So he's asking if it's Dom and Patrick. She says she's not talked to him. She's not alleging they know a thing. He is. He's making those allegations. She's not. She hadn't talked to him. When I go to work, I try to think about everything but you. I'm busy. I try to do that anyway. I only deal with stuff I must. Believe me, I can't stand you. Can't stand you. So, when you try to kill people, they tend not to like you, Mr. Perry. When you peep, that's a turnoff. Girls don't like that. They're not going to like you. Don't ask me again why. He types in my phone. Why? Oh my God, wow. You have to ask me that? When you do things people don't like, I mean, I'm sorry. When you do something illegal, people don't like it when you do that. Other people don't have to be told that. Why are you having to be told that? Not just once, but over and over and over and over. God, that's so embarrassing for you. So they planned that, and they're trying to do that, I guess, now. The text that I was referring to earlier were actually... Well, I thought they were maybe right here. Nope, those are to Fabian. So where are the... Mr. Robertson had some. Oh, here they are. See, this is dated January 4th, 2016. I filed the police report on the 21st of 16. I was arrested a week later. No time for a investigation. So again, the guy's saying you're not delusional if there was no time for an investigation. They obstructed justice. And as a professional doctor, I'm not going to sign my name and lose my license. I don't know why these guys at Texas Tech did, but they did. So they hadn't seen this. They knew nothing about this. And he said, I'm not going to sign my name to anything without seeing your evidence. I have to see it. Because to make the diagnosis of delusion, you have to look at all the evidence and then see that the person, the individual, is seeing something that you're not seeing. Well, we can all clearly see that says that. And the law in Oklahoma is you must file a police report. And you knew that. And you destroyed my evidence. It wasn't preserved. That's another indication you're not delusional at all, he said. Because I need to have that. So did the Texas Tech physicians. And they've signed their name to something without seeing the evidence. That's sloppy. It's careless. And I won't be like that. That's not how I do business. Okay, so there's that. And these are the death threats. If somebody's threatening death and false arrest, you need a protective order. He was threatening it. I did address it here. I'm trying to argue for my life and my freedom. And then on the 21st, I filed a police report in accordance with the law because I'm getting threatened with death and false arrest, which you need a protective order if you're getting threatened. And a week later, before it's even examined by a detective, forensics blood hair examined by a detective, I get arrested and taken out of state. I was removed from the state where I lived and where the crime occurred. And you cannot physically, by physical force, prevent and delay the reporting of a crime, and you can't retaliate. It's called a RICO violation, Mr. Perry. If your attorneys are too stupid to explain it to you, my prosecutor's happy to. He's more than happy to explain to you what fraud looks like. What acts constitute fraud, what acts constitute harassing his witness, grand larceny with intent to coerce, conversion with intent to coerce, concealment of a material fact from the and you do that all the time from the deciding Mike Neely. This right here, the doctor said I got to see Texas Tech physicians didn't look at that. Nope. Then what the hell are they doing making any kind of diagnosis? They can't. They shouldn't. They could lose their license for doing that. I'm not going to lose my license. I'm more professional than that. Yep, you would think. But this is Lubbock, so it didn't surprise me at all. But yeah, Mr. Powell had no intention of going to court, or he would have preserved my evidence. This is the other one. Look at the date. October 2015. He's threatening a false arrest. See? They want me arrested. For not liking the weird guy. For catching the crime. They need me shut up. They dismissed it. On June 28th. A year and a half, Mr. Powell. Wow. Wow. Didn't preserve any of my evidence. The date on the report was here. The 21st. A week later. A week later. No evidence had been collected by Tulsa police at all. That's the 29th. That was the date of my arrest. They're talking about an incident here on the 12th day of January. They transposed the numbers. It's supposed to be the 21st. I filed nothing on the 12th. So somebody transposed numbers. This is the date. I got a call back from TPD. We've been through this over and over and over and over and over. And this is causing problems for them now. And they go into court and they whine and complain that they're the victims. And they want me to apologize. And basically what's been said to them is for what? She moved twice to get away from you. You're not false arrested. You're not having a bunch of weird accidents to your car. You're not having income loss. Where's your fucking injury? What is she supposed to apologize for? You mean you want her to lie? She said you're trying to coerce a lie. Grand larceny with intent to coerce. She said you're running off all the customers on that club and there's nobody in it on a Friday night. She texts that to her attorney. You're having her coworkers watch her talk to her attorney. Now, you've breached attorney-client privilege. And now you want to know if the managers of a club where she worked are talking? She didn't tell them. She hadn't talked to them. She's not alleged they knew even knew anything. You are. Yep. It just gets worse. And nobody has fucked up your crime like me, Mr. Perry. And I want you to write it down. I get that you want to attack me because I'm fucking up your crime. You and David and Matt and Josh and Joe and Calvin. I fuck up your crime and you guys whine and complain like a bunch of little girls. And you want me shut up and you want to lock me up in jail again. And you call out to Rogers County and Mays County. Try to find a way to put her back in jail. We need her to shut up. Duly noted for the record, that is retaliation. You're harassing a witness. Sheriff Reed and Sheriff Walton or Walston or whatever your name is. Listen, you need to have a conversation with me before you just start throwing people in jail that are involved in a police investigation coming out of somewhere else. But if I know beforehand, I'm told that. Last Tuesday night, you wanted to throw me in jail again? I left early? Why would that be? How would I know that if there's not a police investigation? I also knew Mike Neely was drugged and he didn't kill anybody 2 months before it was confirmed by first responders. That's all on the docket. Read it. If you're going to be a police officer, you better know your shit. I'm going to tell you something. I know my shit. I don't go out and just say shit. I check it out first. I get the facts. I'm not going to be ignorant. I'm not going to look stupid. I'm not going to have egg on my face later. I'm going to know what the hell I'm talking about. And you should too. And if you can't keep up with me, you're going to piss me off. I'm not going to slow down for you. You need to keep up with me. I'm good at what I do. This is a humongous criminal enterprise. Humongous. There's a lot of money involved in it. It is about voyeurism. It is about sexual exploitation of women and children. It is about a bunch of perverts who found a way to make money with their problem. They troll women, our witness says. They find women who are divorced with kids. That's the victimology on this. They put cameras in their house when they're not home. And then they begin to broadcast watch time on the dark web. Remember Josh Schulte? Research his case. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to do your work for you. Research his case. He's from Lubbock, by the way. So they broadcast these women and kids. Charles Perry's a sexual sadist. He enjoys getting women hysterical, and then he goes and rubs one out. And I'm quoting the witness because my terminology on that is jacks off. He goes and jacks off. Okay, this guy says rubs one out. That's his terminology. So he said he'll get them fired from their job. He'll hack them so they can't find another job. Now they lose their house. Then he has the ex take the kids away. That's what he does. Did he do that to Cynthia? And my guy says he did. He's done it more than once. He was not able to get the younger kid, but he got the older kid through her parents, though, not his dad. He rips families apart. And if you try to find out who it is or what he's doing, he will kill your ass. But listen, and Lucky lost his life. He was trying to help me. 6 days after they took my vandalism complaint, he died. Mike Neely didn't have a mark on him, and he was drugged. And I said that before anybody else said that. Because we got something else going on that you need to be aware of before you just start throwing people in jail. Mr. Powell. Sheriff Reed, Sheriff Walton. I don't have anything against you two. I didn't come up here to pick a fight with y'all. I'm just trying to survive something and fight the crime. You should try it sometime. It's called law enforcement. I'm not a cop, but I'm involved with cops. So please be aware, I do have a position and I do have a job. It's not a cop, but it's something, and I'm not allowed to say what that is. But you obstruct justice, I think you're going to get something all over you that you're going to wish you hadn't. And that's not a threat. I'm just telling you, if you impede an investigation from somewhere else, and you cause more suffering and more crime and more harm and more loss, you're going to have to, there's going to be legal consequences for that. That's reasonable, don't you think? Everybody's sick and tired of watching the suffering and the harm and the suffering and the harm and the hardship after hardship after hardship and the sadism icked and slimed all over everybody else. Law enforcement is about relieving suffering caused by crime. Right? So do that or get out of it. Find a different job. Find something else to do. It's not for everybody. I've been through absolute hell, as has Officer Neely. We're going to get him home to his wife and his son. We're going to do it. We don't need your permission. You're going to retaliate. You're going to pay the legal consequences for that. That's your choice. Mr. Perry, nobody has fucked up your crime like me. Do you think that's a date, really? Are you that slow? There's no affair here. There's nothing. I have one goal. Relieve suffering caused by crime. My granddad brainwashed me with that. He brainwashed me. I don't believe any other way. That's all I know. And I'm thankful to him that he taught us that. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You don't need anybody else's approval or permission. And I promise you, at the end of the day, it's going to come out right, and you fuck it up, you're gonna have to do some explaining somewhere down the line. It will kick your ass if you fuck it up. Somewhere, down the line, in the future, you're going to have to answer for what you've done. Always. And it will kick your ass if you do the wrong thing. You do the right thing, you're going to be rewarded. Well, guess whose name is on the front door of the police station where he served? His. And nobody knows who the other guy was who gave him shit. Nobody remembers his name. Right? Thank God for that. There is a God, and God is not going to be mocked. We all reap what we sow. This is my granddad. That's his name on the front door of the police station, and he had his adversity too. He did the right thing because it was the right thing to do, and it was also about a fucker that couldn't keep his pants zipped up. Couldn't control himself. Nobody remembers who that guy was, but they know my granddad's name is right there on the front door of that police station. He was honored because he did the right thing. That's what I was raised believing. That's what I believe. That's who I am. That's the air I breathe, the way I think. Nothing else matters to me. Because I know one day I'm going to die and I'm going to go stand before God, and my granddad's going to be there. And my great-granddad is too. And I can't imagine what it would be like not to be, I'm going to make them proud. I'm going to make them proud. And I'm going to look people in the face that you hurt. And I'm going to say, today's the last day that you hurt. You will not hurt again. You will not hurt again from these people. I'm going to take that hurt away from you. We're going to do something. We're going to put a stop to what these monsters are doing to you. That's my life's goal, Mr. Perry. It is not to get a date with you. It is never going to be a date not to get a date with you. I believe in the legacy that my granddad left for me, and I am going to protect it, and I am. Loyal, brave, and true is about that, sir. It is not about a romance with you. And I know you watch me on my phone. You're not intended to see what I do on my phone. Get the fuck out of it, and then you won't misunderstand. But that song, Loyal, Brave, and True from Mulan, Disney, that's about my loyalty to preserving the legacy my granddad left. My loyalty to him and the sacrifice that he made and in leaving that legacy for my family. We can be proud of it, and you need to leave one for your family. Right now, you're an embarrassment. You abandoned your family. Where do you live? You need to prove that. Do you live in Oklahoma or do you live in Texas? Prove it. Papers, receipts. Where you been? Where you been spending your time? Your legacy is left to your kids, Jordan and Matthew, and your wife, Jackie. Did you leave an embarrassing one? You've been up here living a pretend life. I pulled the mask off and you don't like that? You too, Mr. Powell. That you don't preserve evidence? That you fuck over victims instead of helping relieve suffering caused by crime? You too, Josh. You forgot that there's honor in that badge? You're going to leave what you do to your family, just like my granddad did, and I'm very proud of my granddad. He means something. His job, the honor in the badge, police, law enforcement, relieve suffering caused by crime, that means something to me. And when that little girl sat there and cried, when I told her Oklahoma trooper changed my tire in the rain, she wept. I've not seen that side of police. I didn't know they did that. Oh my God. I grew up with police, kind police. Police who cause the monster to be put in jail so he can no longer hurt. And they look people in the eye and say, today your hurt stops. I'm going to make it stop. I'm going to help you. I'm going to put the monster putting you through this in jail. And today your hurt stops. Charles, do not contact me again, you fuck. Don't. Peep, don't. Hack, don't. Contact me. Get out. Get the fuck out. You talk and you talk and you talk and you talk and you never shut up. And I don't care what you think, and you're not getting it. Slow. You're mentally slow. I didn't ask you what you thought, did I? I said respect my rights and wishes and get the hell out of my life. When you invade my privacy, when you contact me, when you take my money, when you bother me, you piss me the hell off, bitch. And then my guys go at you harder because they are telling me right now he's about to go to jail. This monster that has ripped your life apart is about to go to jail, and you won't hurt anymore, Sin. You won't hurt anymore. And guess what? I'd be dead. I'd be in jail. I'd be homeless because that's what you wanted had they not been there to stop you. So go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, you sick son of a bitch. If it's illegal, don't do it because people don't like it when you do that. Don't ask me why. That's why. And most people won't ever have to be told that. And you have to be told that over and over, and you still don't get it. What is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? Don't contact me. I hate it. Don't think I care what you think. Get that out of your head. I don't care what you think. I didn't ask you. You were not asked. You were asked to stop contacting me. You are breaking the law, sir. You stop. If you're a local police officer, look at this right here. That's your choice. You do what you do. You can choose to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do and be a part of that ending the suffering and telling a victim you won't hurt anymore. This is it. We're putting the guy in jail. And leave that legacy for your kids, or you're going to have to try to cover up shit. That's your choice. I don't care. I really don't. I really don't care. I do what I do for my reasons because I'm going to go to heaven, and I'm going to see my grandma, and I'm going to see my great-granddad, and they're going to look me in the face and go, thank you for working so hard and the sacrifices you made. So our legacy is there still for your kids to be proud of and your grandkids to be proud of because we fought hard for that. Just the same as people came over here and fought hard so we could have freedom of speech. That is their legacy. You pass that on. It stays after you've died, long after you've died. And like Lucky Miller does not deserve to have the legacy that he was beaten in a drunk brawl. He wasn't. He's a lawman killed in the line of duty. He deserves the honors of that. I want his name on the front door of Manford Police Department. I want Mike Neely's name on the front door of the police department in Manford because those two were trying to help me. And Mike Neely didn't have any mark on him like a guy would have if he was in a fight. And he was found unconscious. And we all know you cannot beat someone to death when you're asleep. And you sure shit can't do it and not have a mark on you. And he had one thing on his right hand, even by the arrest report. He had a needle in it. That's going to make your hand a little red and swollen, is it not? Why the hell do people not take this more seriously? You got to fight for freedom. It's not free. It doesn't come because you sleep and it's going to just happen magically. You fight for it. You have to. And these men are a threat to freedom. They are all about the slavery. Subjugate her. Because I'm the one that has fought their crime like nobody else they know. And they don't know what the hell to do. And if Lucky had called for backup instead of trying to do it by himself like he did often, maybe we could have saved him. I didn't know about the brick. I didn't know. There's a lot of things I don't know beforehand. We get 98% of it. It's not humanly possible to get it all, is it? So, I don't know what else to tell you. But I'll tell you what. We're sick and tired of the repeat, Mr. Perry. You got Alzheimer's, no question, and you need to get some help with it. Most people never have to be told this at all, much less over and over and over and over and over. Stop bothering everybody. We're sick of you. And this person, I guess a judge, was correct when she said she's not alleging they knew shit. She said she hadn't talked to him. You're asking. You want to know who keeps telling on you. You asked if it was those two. Did you tell them something? Because I sure shit did not. The only thing Dominic knew was he was standing there when I was talking to Pinto. And Pinto left and I go, I just recorded that bitch. He works for my stalker. I need to go sit down for a minute. That rattled me a little bit. You get traumatized over and over every day when you're being stalked. Crime will traumatize you. Loss traumatizes you. Threats traumatize you. You have to live with fear. Under threat. Loss. sadness. Every day, all the time. Mr. Perry, get the hell out. You were never asked to come up here. We don't have a romance. I'm fighting your crime like nobody, and you know ever in your life has done. I am doing that. Don't forget who you're talking to. I do not want to call you. We are not a couple. Get a grip on reality. You look stupid. You cannot stand around with your eyes closed and think no one sees you. You are very mentally slow. You're very mentally slow, sir. Get out of my life. I don't like you. It is against the law to continue to contact a woman who said, don't contact me again. Stalking is a crime in all 50 states. It is a crime in all 50 states, bitch. You are making a fool of yourself. Go find a woman that wants you. If you have power, you ought to be able to do that pretty easily. Right? I'm going to pause this for 1 second. This is a document on perjury by omission or concealment. Mr. Perry, you need to read that. Mr. Warman, you need to read that. If you guys can't properly explain this to Mr. Perry and Mr. Powell and Mr. Burson and Mr. Robertson and Mr. Chadwick, our prosecutor will do it for you. That's your choice. There's one more. That's another one you need to read, Mr. Warman. Mr. Giles. If you can't explain it to your client, my guy will do it. So we don't have a problem with that at all. But you stop your clients from the unwanted contact. Restrain them from the harassment, from the grand larceny with intent to coerce, interfering with contract after contract after contract. Mr. Perry, I don't like you. I don't have to tell you why. But I'll tell you, when you commit a crime against someone and you cause a loss, they're not going to like you. That's why it's a crime. It's not hard. We all don't have to be told that. So why do you? Are you slow? You're pissing everybody off with it. You're slow. Do not close your eyes and think no one else can see you. I want the list of people who you think you're fooling. Don't contact me. Hold on. There's another one. And then there's this. This goes over what exactly domestic violence is, the traumatization of women and children by being victims of domestic violence, psychological abuse, economic abuse, physical abuse. Stalking is creepy. It is a crime, Mr. Perry, because people don't like it when you do that. So don't ask me why. Peeping is disgusting. Go find guys that actually have a date and do what they do. Maybe you'll get a date too. You don't have a date with me. I'm not in love with you. You make me want to throw up. This suggests electronic monitoring for offenders of domestic violence laws. So how about I move to a state that they'll do this to you? Get the hell out of my life. Get the fuck out of it, Mr. Perry. I don't like you. I've told you why. The more you do to me, the more you get caught. It's been 10 years. You're very slow. Keep up with everybody else, please. You're getting on everybody's nerves. People are pissed off at you. Stop causing hardship, and then maybe you won't get told on so much. People don't like it when you cause people problems. Okay? Get a life and move on.